So I think it's disingenuous to say, why do sane people believe this stuff, right? And therefore implying that they're not sane or they're not whatever. They're often, with the information they've got, coming to what they see as a reasonable conclusion. And if it's also tied in with some emotional engagement, like they've got a concern for the royal family, or they're worried about their welfare, or they believe that there's a political activity they don't like, then it all becomes kind of a mess. And the truth is, we can all do this. I mean, we can read a newspaper and really believe a headline because it fits with what we believe, etc. Don't question it, right? You know, because it fits with our views. And then a few days later, we find some other facts out and go, oh, actually, that wasn't quite the case. Right? But it actually takes a lot of knowledge sometimes to unpick the real from the fake, the misinformation from the disinformation. It's not illogical, but it reflects a big issue, which is that levels of kind of critical digital literacy in the UK population, in kind of developed nations populations, is not actually that high. And we know that from research. We know that from Ofcom research that shows that a good proportion of the population can't differentiate between the advert bit and the non-advert bit in a Google result, you know. Then they don't understand how those results have been generated. Similarly, people can often find it hard to differentiate between real news and disinformation stuff because they're formatted the same on their Facebook page, right? So I think the kind of implicit thing in that headline is that somehow people are doing something daft or weird. And most of the time, people are not doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, there are groups of people with very strong beliefs, you know, that we might laud and like or dislike, you know, they might have political beliefs we dislike, or they might have extreme political beliefs. They're not going to look at the news and the news content and say, oh, I'll take a balanced view across it, because they have a clear view of what they think the world is like. So again, if the stuff they read fits that view, they'll go down it. But I think, you got to remember, in the UK and other parts of the world, the royal family is a very special institution to many people. There's been lots of media coverage of them recently, of the, you know, the different couples, you know, of the different members of the royal family, you know, their relationships, what's happening, and so on. The royal family is also very public, but also very secretive. Yeah, so there's an information gap there. And the moment there's an information gap, then people will fill it. And like I said, if what it's filled with is something that fits other people's beliefs or gives them a worry or gives them a feeling they're getting an insight, then they may get drawn in. So I don't think the royal family is a specifically different case than the others. I think it's just where there's an information gap, where people have got an emotional commitment, where their ability to evaluate the quality of the information they're getting is low. Here we go. We have such a fast moving mediascape, yet actually good news, good information, good journalism takes a little bit longer, and it leaves a space that others can fill in the way that we do our social media now. Like I said, part of the problem is, I think, lots of people now don't have the media and digital literacies they need to manage that kind of hosepipe of noise that comes through their TikTok or their, if they're older, their Facebook or whatever, and differentiate this stuff. Well, because that was previously done by journalists and came out through newspapers and broadcast and so on. And that's, I think, a challenge.